All right, welcome to another episode from the chart readers. What a day, what a day, what a day. All right, the crazy thing is, obviously 17% is a monster day and easily could be the crazy thing, but we added more than 50% to volume today. I'm going to say that one more time. We added more than 50% to volume. And if you watched yesterday's video, I'm going to draw the line, right? Like, we'll talk about this shortly. Yesterday was basically the third biggest, maybe fourth biggest, if you want to include this candle day. Today, by a lot, was the biggest. And again, I said this with love on Twitter. I said this with love yesterday. Oh man, when the right eyes look at an insignificant stock, and I use that word with love, all right? Oh my goodness, okay? Big things here, all right? Big things. The next thing we're going to look at is SNDL. It's a little embarrassing because I accidentally put it in the Tilray section, and oh my goodness, what a day that had. And if you watch that little segment, I was excited actually on SNDL, all right? And then I want to cover MSOS. I'll talk about a couple of the holdings in there. They're very similar to the weed holdings as well, which is another ETF. And then we'll round it out with CRON on this one, all right? So excited to talk about these and more, but before we go any further, what are we going to do? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we are done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to this channel, share this video online with your friends, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do helps so much with these YouTube algorithms, but for real, just being here, giving me your time, oh, I am so grateful for it all right? So let's get into it. You know what was really cool was Raj, actually the CEO of this of HITI, liked one of my Twitter posts, so that was kind of cool, X, whatever you want to call it. I asked him to do an interview. I don't know if he'll reply or not, but hey, I'm planting the seed if I can, all right? But oh man, yesterday's excitement was for a reason. All right, it's you know, let's even take a step back. If you were watching my videos only a couple weeks ago, in this middle of March, I was real honest. It's just I couldn't make any technical guesses. There were so many moving averages. You can even say since February, we were just stuck in that. And I mean, it needed to escape. It finally escaped. And I mean, from there, it just beautifulness. All right. Someone mentioned that there was a Germany PR or a floor. I think it was Germany, but there was some PR that HITI put out on Germany. I don't think I saw that. What I did see yesterday, what I attributed to yesterday's pop, was the analyst strong buy. All right. Now look, in a lot of ways, I'm an analyst too, right? I'm clearly not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is either just opinions. We are educated people sharing thoughts, right? But I do not put weight in any analyst. And I always say that with my stuff, right? I never use the words buy, sell, hold for that reason, actually. People put way too much emphasis on an analyst, all right? But if someone says strong buy, if someone says strong sell, if someone says overweight, underweight, there are so many different ways to say it that analysts do. If someone gives a price target that's 17x versus like 50% lower, look, all of that is nothing to me. It's rubbish. It's just clicks and headlines, all right? When an analyst talks about a stock that hasn't been talked about much, that's a different story. And that's what I believed happened yesterday. And today is the follow through of that. When people are interested, others become interested too. Look, I made the silliest joke. It's like asking someone to the prom back in the day. You're single and nervous, single and nervous, single and nervous, single and nervous. Someone says yes, and all of a sudden everyone wants to go out with you, right? Like, this is why you don't put I'm single on Facebook, or you don't put open a network on LinkedIn, right? Like, everyone wants the one that's employed. Everyone wants the one that has the attention. And lo and behold, High Tide has some attention now. And again, the single biggest day of volume since the stock was created and publicly traded. Nothing says more attention than that phrase right there. Like there, oh my goodness. All right. Like I talked about how it was very like sustainable, right? We've now like risen that trajectory a lot, right? So I'm curious to see what holds. But again, I'm seeing this after hours move. And again, I said it on Tilray. I said it yesterday on this one. I'm not trying to put a lot of weight in after hours. I've seen some after hours silliness, right? But let me delete that line real quick. We're still at an early 81. We've seen RSIs go up into the 80s and 90s and stuff like that. And look, though we haven't seen much of it on high tide, all right, we've also never seen volume like this. So there's a little bit of my head wondering, I don't know if I can really take the RSI readings, as much as I would, given what we've seen the last couple of days, let alone the last couple, weeks, right? I'm loving this MACD divergence. I think that goes really well with the volume. And again, it doesn't smell like a pump and dump volume because, again, I do believe that high tide now has a prom date and all the girls want to come in, right? Or, hey, the girl finally's got a date and all the quarterbacks and the point guards, like all the dudes want to come in, right? So it's attention. Volume is king. Volume is queen for my ladies. That volume fixes everything, or volume makes bad things extremely worse, all right? The lack of volume has been doing a lot of punishment here. It has. There actually have not been a lot of big volume spikes that took this thing down. It was just actually a whole lot of lack of interest, all right? Interest needs to hold. And I mean, if it holds at these unreal levels, oh my goodness, right? So, the weekly, listen, we are only halfway in the week. We still have 2 full days of trading, and this is already the second biggest weekly candle volume in the existence of high tide. All right, like and look, that other one was actually a bad candle. Obviously the day was, but like that's a bad volume. Like oh my goodness, like the magnitude of this volume speaks for itself on the weekly, let alone this daily. And again, I started with it, right? We basically added 50%. We went from 2 to a little bit more than 3. Get out of here. We added a little more than 1 million on a volume that was only 2 last time. Get out of here, right? This is nice. This is real nice, and my. Look, it seems like 330 makes a good amount of sense here. Again, we're looking at a weekly chart, so hey, maybe it'll take like another week or 2, but that's a good little RSI, that's a good little MACD, that's a good little bit of volume right there. I mean, it's just, it's, woof. Oh man, hey, let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions, beautifulness, and let's see if we can get Raj to give us an interview. That'd be pretty cool. Let's come into SNDL. All right. First, I want to apologize. I accidentally threw this into the Tilray charts. I wanted to draw a connection, and man, it looked like it was hungry, and man, did it deliver. All right. From there, I will ask if you can please subscribe and please share. It does wonders, right? But I mean, look, SNDL, we're seeing a lot of commonalities really with Tilray and CGC, right? This is an 80 RSI. This has now actually been living, not quite that week and a half that we saw. I mean, look, you could almost argue actually since back here, right? But we've been living at a real nice, high, healthy RSI. Looks like it's ready to keep going up. Volume was beautiful today. Let's just zoom out really quickly. No, this thing had the meme days. It's had some bigger volume, but I'm seeing beautiful increase on the bigger days, let alone just the overall like volume, right? So I'm liking this. We break not 1 but 2 moving averages. We beautifully bounce off the 8 moving average. Gosh, I love that little green line right there, right? And I mean, look, yeah, it might be a little thick is kind of what I was thinking, but I normally don't draw so many lines together for a reason. I really don't like that, right? But yeah, things do look maybe a little thick here. They do. And again, this here was the meme volume days, right? So yeah, I think I like having these couple extra lines, all right? Break to set to 80, right? And oh my, it's real beautiful after that. But I think it's actually worth having these lines. So yeah, the immediate target I think is going to be 280. I think after 280 we'll see what happens, right? Maybe we cool, but again, I mean, just look at it. If anything, all we're doing is using the 8 like a champ. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming, look, just like we've seen the 8 moving average take the stock down, we're now watching this thing take it up. And look, I'm assuming we're going to love the 8 and the 20 for a while until the lines tell me otherwise, all right? So SNDL looking beautiful, beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at this weekly. Since the existence of the 100 moving average line on the weekly, we have been well, completely under it, except for these last 2 weeks. And clearly this week is significantly better because we're not just wicking it, we're over it, right? So, oh my good, oops, I did this weird zoom, sorry about that. 200 sitting up there. This thing's calling for 450, right? I don't really want you to have 450 dreams, but again, I literally just talked about how it's going to be smooth sailing from 280 to 450, right? But oh my goodness, oh, this looks nice. I don't know what else to say, right? Lovely. Yeah, let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions. Oh, it feels good to feel good on these, right? Let's come into MSOS, all right? And listen to the MSOS gang. I didn't know that was a phrase out there, but I actually really like that. I know the love hasn't been as nice here. I know this only looks like a measly little 3%. I'm seeing this 8 moving average start to take us up, and I've been saying it. We got to break this 1050. We got to break this 1050, and I think we are getting primed to break that 1050, all right? So really quickly, if you can please subscribe, please share. It does wonders with the algorithms, right? But I'm just zooming out real quick. Look, this MSOS hasn't been around for a while, right? And this bottom right here, and I don't want to call it a bottom because obviously it went lower, right? But we had a peak right there. We had basically the middle of this green, and not quite the middle, but yeah, a decent point. And it looks like there's actually even a green candle right there on one of those, right? So yeah, I do think that this is a really, it doesn't look like much, but when there isn't much except for down, it's hard to put some strong supports, right? So I think it makes sense that this 1050 is as strong as it is, despite how like weak it looks, for lack of words, right? But yeah, I can see a little bit of a horizontal there for sure. It's not like that's just like a single moment, and then obviously that little peak right there, right? So we obviously failed it right there. It feels like it does. I think things are going to look good. What I really like is Florida, all right? So Florida has a beautiful population of young partiers and older people looking for pain relief, right? So I think there's and I mean, I don't know population numbers. I'm not here to pretend I'm a fundamental statistics dude, right? But like, there's a lot of people that go to Florida. There's still a lot of people that go to Florida because housing is not that expensive comparatively to places like LA where I live, right? So Florida's still growing. And again, the population's an interesting one, right? So Florida could be a big state, and obviously that would be a really, really big move for the MSOSs, right? So this 1050 is what needs to break, all right? Let's take a look at TrueLeaf. All right, this is a big holding on MSOS. I like what I'm seeing here. Again, I know it doesn't look like much, right? But yeah, maybe I could have drawn a line right there. There's a little bit of like a horizontal right there. There's a little bit of like a peak thing right there. That's essentially where we're sitting. But yeah, this thing is marching very nicely to the 14 we're expecting it to, right? And if the march continues, that should help MSOS, right? So liking the MACD, RSI is a little high, but it was a very high 80 not that long ago. And look, volume still hasn't come to TrueLeaf. All right, if TrueLeaf can start breaking the 50-day average, that's when things will start getting silly here and obviously really, really help MSOS. All right, let's take a look at CURLF. Again, this is actually the #1 holding on the weed ETF, and I mean that's a big candle, right? I think this looks a little closer to what the MSOS chart looks like, because we have a peak at what looks like an important resistance. We try it again, we try it again, seemingly have broken it, Let's see if we can get more. I'm loving the I'm loving the positive MACD. RSI, again, that's actually a healthier 70. So let's just get to 80. Maybe we can push a little higher, right? But once again, give me a little bit more volume here, right? The two stocks that are rather high. Look, MSOS itself actually does do decent volume. All right. People are at least getting the 50-day average line interest in MSOS. The problem is it's the individual holdings that are missing a little bit. And hey, look, again, when I'm talking about TrueLeave, I have to type 5 letters. This is still a pink over the counter, right? When I'm talking about Cura, I'm not typing CURA, right? I got to type in CURLF, a pink over the counter, right? So there's a little bit of a, I get it when we talk about these, right? But yeah, I think it'll be better. What was Valiant Lab? Damn, I forgot the third one, and I did that on the last video. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we're only going to do those two right now. But really, those two are reflected on the weed holding, the round hill as well. And look, you can see it. We hit the wall, we drop. We've been coming to that 45 wall, right? I mean, that's basically the line we can draw, and that's basically where we're sitting, right? So both of these ETFs have a very, very, very high holding on CURLF and TrueLeaf specifically. So I apologize for not having a third one, but I think that's a decent look at the holdings and then the view itself, right? So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. Let's end this with CRON. I've had a lot of people talk to me about CRON, and I do apologize for not putting this one. Truth be told, the views aren't fantastic on this one, and for me, I gotta follow the views, right? So hopefully this picks up and I can add it, but real quick, hey, if you can please subscribe, please share. It does wonders with the algorithms. Before I talk about the technicals here, there are a lot of really interesting fundamental comments about CRON, about Kronos Group. And specifically, it's about them having really good financials. Is that true? I'm clearly a technical guy, right? Like I care way more about these colorful lines than any company's financial statements or this or that, right? But hey, knowing that a company is actually pretty sound makes me like lines a lot better. Believe me when I say that, all right? So let me know. I've heard from at least 4 or 5 people over the last like week, and I mean, look at this run, right? So it makes sense why I've probably even longer than the last week, right? But let's talk about the technicals real quick. And the one thing that's actually catching my eyes, all 5 of the moving averages are curving up. Okay, this is clearly up. This is clearly up. Look at the 3 slower ones. That's up, and even that's up. All right. When I looked at Tilray can't say that. Most of these are still kind of flat, right? When I look at CGC, can't say that. Still kind of flat, right? SNDL, I don't even think can say that. Yeah, it's kind of starting, but not really. CRON has a lot of the slower ones starting to move. And I think that's because this one's actually had a pretty decent run for most of the year and well beyond and into 2023. I know it doesn't look like much, especially when we're talking about CGC going from down there to all the way up there, right? But this sustainability is actually why these are starting to move up. Because let's be honest, almost all the other wheat stocks I'm talking about have kind of tanked before this, right? This one actually, I don't think most look like this over the last like year and a half. Let's just do this live real quick. Yeah, that's not as smooth and pretty. That's an easy one. That's completely ugly. That's an easy one. SNDL, fat fingers. Yeah, look at that, dude. CRON has a little bit more of a going. SNDL was maybe a little bit close. Not really. This actually has a little bit more of a draw. Interesting. I think maybe that does add to a little bit of what people say about the fundamentals being strong here. But yeah, look, I'm seeing a really nice up right there. That's interesting. Look, so yeah, I like that the slower ones are going up. That's real big. Because again, look, right now, I'm assuming, just like all the other weed stocks, we're just bouncing on the 8 like a champion. One day we might slip and need to use the 20. Hey, maybe even one day we might slip and need to use the 50, but they're all going to be going up. And by the time we're talking about using the other ones, hopefully they're up, and the drop's not that bad at all, right? So I love that all these moving averages are going up. MACD. RSI, volume, almost the exact same comments from all the other side. Like, it's beautiful when the sector crushes it. All right. I said this on Twitter this morning. I know everyone's looking for their individual stocks to do well, but man, when all the other ones do, yours will eventually if the sector's that hot. All right. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. I like CRON. This is beautiful, actually. So I'll try to cover this more if the ratings are good. Hey, I appreciate you so much.